the Flexi software, this is a very handy feature in our software, which a lot of users working with. So this is only direct to vinyl today. I did already a webinar about this in the start of 2020, but I will show some other features, some other examples which are very helpful. I hope you guys are ready for the webinar. Let's see. So we'll have the introduction, the webinar, and after the session, we will have Q&A, some time for questions. You can always ask them in the chat if you like. We will try to answer them. So what are the benefits of our direct cut feature? We have almost 2,000 cutter drivers in our software, which is a lot. We can almost drive every cutter which is on the market. You don't need plugins, so no need to install an extra plugin to start cutting. We'll show today how the wheat lines work, how you can easily add extra wheat lines to help to process, to help the production speed, and also we'll show some advanced cutting settings. Okay, so let's go over to the practical part. So I opened Flexi, of course. And first, I want to show a very easy option in the direct plot menu, and that's the auto weld option. So first, I will start with some small text. Webinar. And I'll change the font to a very handwritten font. So in this case, you will see my font is designed like this. And if we send this to the cutter, if I press Ctrl F, you will have this example. I will show you this result. So this means the cutter will cut not really good. The result is not very well. How can we make this cut like this? Is if you send it to the cutter via cut plot, go to the fourth tab, and you select the auto weld option. So this is a very important option. So this means the software will automatically weld all the letters together. It's the same if you weld it in the weld, when you use the weld option in the toolbar. So if I weld it like this, you'll see it's also welded. If you have a lot of text, for example, you can just go to the cut plot tab, to the fourth tab, and select the auto weld option. So this is a kind of safety option, which you can always check. You can save this in a preset if you like. So it's always checked. So voila. Okay, for the next example, I will import the SAI logo. it's an EPS file. Okay. And if you import an EPS file, make sure you unmask it first. So if you import an EPS file, make sure you unmask it via right mouse click and unmask all. And you remove the mask, of course. And now you have a artwork which is cuttable. If you import the EPS without unmasking, the cut plot window will not recognize the outlines. So in this case, make sure you always unmask EPS or PDF files which you import. In this case, we want to make copies of this and make a flex cut as well. So we want to cut this as a kiss cut and make sure we have border around the image as well, cut it. So if I send this to the cutter, cut plot, and make copies, 20, for example, I align it, spacing in between. Go to the third tab, and you will see you have the option to add a width border. So we'll add the width border, and this means you will add an extra border around the design. The preview is always by default shown you have a width border, but in this case you will have to check the width border option. So you add width border, you add a panel margin. So for example, you need 1 centimeter spacing between your artwork and the weeding border. And of course, you can make different cut strategies. So in this case, my first color, the purple objects. One moment, let's see if I click edit. The PC is not connected with the cutter at the moment, so it takes a bit longer. So in this case, I'm using the machine settings of the cutter. Takes a bit longer. So I select none. So in this case, my SAI logo, I want to cut it with the cut settings of the machine. So make sure you select none if you want to use the machine settings. If I select width border, it will add an extra cut layer in the layer preview. And here, for example, I can say, let's make a flex cut. So it will cut kiss cut and true cut. A flex cut, you set the flex cut settings which you prefer. Okay, and if you send it, you will have this result. So it will first cut the kiss cut, afterwards it will make the flex cut. So you can combine different cut strategies. This will be the result afterwards. So you will see the kiss cut and the flex cut afterwards. Is my connection still okay? Is the connection and the audio still okay? Can you all see the presentation? Is everything clear regarding the combination Cut and FlexCut? Perfect. Okay. So here in this window, you can set different types of cut strategies. So you don't need only one cut strategy. You can combine multiple. Okay. Next very nice tool are the weeding lines, the split lines. In this case, I will send the webinar again. One copy. Make it larger. Set 300% to 50, for example. Okay. And in this case, we can help the production while adding extra split lines. So if you add split lines and the weeding border, you'll see in the preview we'll have extra Cut lines. This makes it more handy, useful afterwards if you cut it. So in this case, you will have something like this. See, so I did a weeding of 3 parts with the split lines. So this is a very useful tool if you want to make the life of the person who needs to weed this more easier. So these are the split lines in the direct cut option. You can also add them manually if you right click in the preview and add vertical split line. You'll see it will add a split line on the place you have right clicked. Is anyone using the split lines already, or is this something new for people who are watching this webinar, or is this something which is very common? Nothing new. Okay, new for you, Sarif. This is very helpful if you yes. Perfect. So if you have big letters, for example, or you have, let's say, see if you have bigger elements to cut, you can always add the split lines. So you don't have big parts to weed. Tony, yes. Yes, you have to be sure the plotter is tracking good. Yes, of course. Make sure the plotter is, yeah, you're right. You have to make sure if your cutter is older or is not cutting really accurate, it's possible the weeding lines, they cut, of course, in your objects. Yes. So make sure you have a stable cutting device in this case. Okay. Also, make sure what I told you before, make sure the auto weld option is enabled. What I did not mention is in the preview, you will always see the not welded results. So if you check the auto weld option, the preview will not change. So make sure the auto weld is on. Okay, the split lines, very useful tool. Sometimes people complain as well that if they send something to the cutter, not only the element which they selected is a preview, but all the elements in the file. So if I only want to send the SAI logo, for example, make sure this option, the selection only button, is selected. If this is not selected, you'll see all the parts of the which are included in the file are sent to the preview box. So make sure the selection only button is selected when you only want to send the file which you have selected, of course. Okay, a new feature in the in Flexi 19 is the nesting in the cut plot window, which we don't have in the previous versions. So in this case, we'll import a Christmas tree bitmap. If you send this to the cutter, the cut plot window will not recognize the outlines because this is a bitmap. What we will have to do is we will easily vectorize this bitmap. This is possible in Flexi, of course, using the Vectorize tool. So if we go to bitmap, Vectorize, and in this case, we use the Bezier function. So if you select this, it will automatically recognize the contrast and show the outlines of my bitmap. So I select Bezier, and what we see is in one click, we have the outlines of the bitmap. I'll delete the bitmap, and what is left is the Christmas tree in outlines. So if I hit Ctrl F, you will see the outlines of my file. So here you can check all the outlines in my design. And what I do now is I go to cut plot, and I want to make copies. So 50 copies, for example. So I will remove the read border and the split lines in this case. Okay, let's say 100%, 50. And what we can do is if I hit the nest button, so this is new in Flexi 19, and nest and smart nest, you'll see I save a lot of media and it will nest all my Christmas trees in each other. This is a very handy tool. See how many media I save using this nest tool. I did this in our showroom as well, and you'll see you have very nice nested result. So new in the Flexi 19 is the nest option. You can also do this if you have multiple elements in your file, and you can then nest them in the cut plot window. Is this new for everyone, or is this something you are already using? Yes. Are there any questions so far? Nice. I would say you can use it. You can save a lot of media. This is just a shortcut. You can also make copies in Flexi and true shape nest it. But in this case, what is very nice is it will automatically nest it in the media size of the cutter. Voila. If you have grouped elements or text, make sure you have the keep groups and texts selected. If you have text, for example, so in this case, maybe we can try webinar. See, now it will keep my text together. So if you nest it, if I uncheck this, let's see what happens. See, it will true shape nest all the letters separately, which is not indeed, in this case, not really a nice result. Okay, so the smart nest in the cut plot window, very useful. Something else I want to show as well, as a safety option. If we go to the fourth tab, and select the eliminate line segment overlap. Eliminate line segment overlap. What is this option? If you import, for example, DXF files or a very complicated file, this means if you select the eliminate line segment overlap, the cutter will only cut if you have two lines which are overlapping on the exact position. The eliminate line segment overlap will send data to the cutter, and the cutter will only cut once on this section. So, for example, I copy webinar and I paste over webinar. So I have two lines overlapping each other. If I send this to the cutter and select the option eliminate line segment overlap, it will only cut once. So this is also a very nice safety check, the eliminate line segment overlap, to make sure you don't cut through the material, of course. Anyone has that issue before, that you send something to the cutter and you'll see that the cutter is cutting twice? For example, anyone had that issue before? Sure. Okay, let's make a more practical example. So I want to show you guys how to make a nice window vinyl. So in this case, I'll open a new document, file new, and I'll import my store, a photo of my front window of my store, and we want a very nice Merry Christmas text and a Happy New Year text in white vinyl on the window. Very easy. So we import the photo to have a preview, and we know the window measures are, the size of the window is 4 meters. Let's say 3 meters by 2 meters. So I did change the document size of Flexi, of my Flexi document. Okay, like so. And I found on Sign Design Elements or image and vector database, I found very nice artwork with some snowflakes and stars. Very nice. So if we go to the Sign Design Elements website, and log in with your cloud account, I found this very nice snowflake vector image. So for only 15 euros or $15, you have 100 free 100 download coins, let's say. Is anyone using the sign design elements already? Okay, Fredrik is using it. Very nice. So I found a very nice example of some snowflakes, and all the sign, all the elements you'll find in the sign design elements are all you can use them for commercial use, so which is very nice. In this case, of course, it's an EPS file. I'll unmask the EPS file, ungroup it. I'll remove the background. I'll make my elements black in this case, so I can see all my objects. I'll remove the Merry Christmas. I'll make it, I scale it, and I center it. I'll group it first, and I'll center it in the middle of my document, like so. And we want to add some text, of course. So text tool. Merry Christmas. And I found a nice Christmas font on the World Wide Web. I have a question from Vic. Can you show once again how to remove the background? So I'll import the EPS file. And this file is always masked if you import it. If I right mouse click and select unmask all, then select the mask. That's always the black object which appear if you unmask, and then I hit delete. Now all the parts are unmasked. Then I right mouse click and I ungroup everything. So I hit ungroup, and now I can easily remove the gradient backgrounds. Okay, Vic. Voilà. In this case, I also want to wish everyone a Happy New Year. So Happy New Year. And I'll set a Arial font, for example. Okay. Combine both objects and center them. I'll group them. And with Control 5, I'll align it to the snowflakes and the stars. How can I make this readable? Is to make an outline. So I want to cut out the background objects. How can I do this? Is I select my text, I grouped it, go to Effects, and I'll give an outline. So Effects, Outline. I give the outline width. So in this case, that looks fine. You can always change it if you want less or more spacing, like so. That looks fine. I hit apply. Okay. And what I do next, because if I send this now, you will also send the objects in the background to the cutter. This is not what I want. I really want to make sure it the parts in the background are deleted. How can I do this? Is I right mouse click and I separate the outline from the text. So separate outline. I select my background, so the snowflakes and the stars, and my outline. And here in the welding, in the weld option, or you can click the weld button in the menu bar, you can say exclude. This is not the result I want. One moment. Let's see. Cutout is the option. So you use the cutout option. And what I see now is the parts, the outline is is like a cutout for the background, like so. If I send this to the cutter right now, make one copy, I will rotate this one, you'll see the parts in the background are cutted out. Looks very nice. How can I preview this on my window to show my customer, for example, is I'll make a rectangle like so. Select wireframe as it will change to an outline. Select, I'll copy everything, Ctrl C, make a new document, like so. And what I do next, I scale it a bit, like so. And what I do next is I use the distort option in effects. So I go to effects, distort, and I'll drag the corners into the corners of my bitmap. So of the photo of the store window, like so. And I hit apply, of course, apply. Now, of course, I want to make it white. I press D from Denmark. I go to fill, select black. First, I have to separate the distortion. So right mouse click, separate distort, press D, go to fill, select black. Okay, and I make it white, of course. I delete the rectangle, like so. And what I have here is a very nice preview of the result. Is anyone already using the distort option in Flexi? Very nice. Okay, I have a question from Netrom. The cut options can be used also from Production Manager. Yes, of course, in Production Manager. So I show the Production Manager. You can already set presets with cutting options. So for example, I'm not using the cut settings in Production Manager, but I want to use the cut settings of the device. I can already select none in the default job properties. So select none, apply, OK. I save it as a preset. Save preset as cutting, for example. OK. Like so. And if I go to the cut plot tab, select the cutting preset, you will see the cut strategy is already set as none. So you can use the Production Manager to set different presets already. Okay, so we made some nice designs. I showed some cut options in the cut plot window. Are there any questions, guys? Are there any questions regarding cut plot?